Today we are going to discuss about the cardiovascular system. Here is a figure of the heart, internal view of the heart. The heart is consists of aorta. It's a large artery which supply to the brain as well as to the whole body. Then the return of the deoxygenated blood is through the vena cava. One is superior vena cava and one is inferior cava. The heart has four chambers: left atrium, right atrium, left ventricle, right ventricle. The aorta enter into the left atrium, and from left atrium to the left ventricle, and through the left ventricle, it will go. The blood will get into aorta, and aorta will supply the whole blood. The left atrium will get the blood from the lungs after the conversion of the deoxygenated blood into the oxygenated blood. In the same way, on the right side, the deoxygenated blood comes from the head and from the lower body, and this will enter into the right atrium, and from right atrium to the right ventricle, and from right ventricle through the pulmonary artery, it will reach to the lungs. The lungs then purify and return it back to the left atrium, then left ventricle, and through the aorta, it will circulate in the whole body. Between left ventricle and left atrium, there is a wall which is known as mitral valve. And between the right atrium and right ventricle, there is a wall known as a tricuspid valve. So this is the anatomy of heart. Now we come to see the heart is a muscular pump organ located medially to the lungs along the body, middle in the thoracic region, means chest. The bottom tip of the heart, known as its apex, is turned to the left so that about two-thirds of the heart is located on the body left side, with the other one-third on the right side. The top of the heart, known as the heart base, and connect to the greater blood vessels of the body, like aorta, vena cava, pulmonary trunk, and pulmonary veins. Circulation loop. There are two primary circulation loops in the body. One is a pulmonary circulation loop and the systemic circulation. There are two loops. What do you understand by pulmonary circulation? Means from heart to the lungs and lungs to the heart, the blood supply is known as pulmonary circulation. And systemic circulation from heart to the whole body system through the aorta and vena cava. Pulmonary circulation transport of deoxygenated blood from the right side of the heart to the lungs, where the blood pick up oxygen and return to the left side of the heart. The pumping chamber of the heart that supports the pulmonary circulation loops are the right atrium and right ventricle. Systemic circulation carries highly oxygenated blood from the left side of the heart to all of the tissues of the body, with the exception of the heart and lungs. So systemic circulation from the heart supplied to the whole body, except lungs and heart. Systemic circulation removes waste from the body and returns deoxygenated blood to the right side of the heart. So all the used blood, deoxygenated blood with the waste comes to the right heart, means right side of the heart, right atrium and right ventricle, and from right ventricle it will go to the lungs and purify it. The left atrium and left ventricle of the heart are the pumping chamber for the systemic circulation. So both left atrium and left ventricle, they pump the blood to the whole systemic circulation loop. When we have a blood vessels are the body highway that allow blood to flow quickly and efficiently from the heart to every region of the body and back again. The size of the blood vessels corresponds with the amount of the blood that passes through the vessel. Means these highways, these blood vessels When they enter in some area of the body where needs more blood, its the size is bigger. If that area needs less blood, size is very small, like capillaries and venules. All blood vessels contain a hollow area called the lumen. The open area of the blood vessel is known as lumen, through which blood is able to flow. Around the lumen is the wall of the vessels that may be thin in the case of the capillary or very thick in the case of the artery. So capillaries have got a single epithelial layer, but the blood vessels, big blood vessels, have got three layers: intima, media, and adventitia. All the blood vessels are lined with a thin layer of the simple squamous epithelium known as the endothelium that keeps blood cells inside of the blood and prevents clot from forming. The endothelial lines the entire circulatory system all the way to the interior of the heart where it is called the endocardium. There are three major types of the blood vessels: arteries, capillaries, and veins. Blood vessels are often named after either the region of the body through which they carry blood or nearby structure. Like humeral artery means in the eye, popliteal artery in the or cerebral artery in the brain. For example, the brachiocephalic artery, which is under the axilla, carries blood into the brachial, arms, and cephalus head regions. One of the branches, the subclavian artery, runs under the clavicle bone. Has the name subclavian. Sub means below. Subclavian artery runs into the axillary region, where it becomes known as the axillary artery. Arteries and arterioles. Arteries are blood vessels that carry blood away from the heart. What are the arteries? Arteries carry blood away from the heart, except one place. The blood carried by artery is usually highly oxygenated, having just left the lung on its way to body tissue. The pulmonary trunk or the arteries and arteries of the pulmonary circulation means lung supply. Loops provide an exception to this rule. These arteries carry deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs to be oxygenated. Means artery carries deoxygenated blood from heart to the lungs, from right heart to the lungs. And from lungs to the heart, oxygenated blood is carried by the vein, pulmonary vein. Arteries face high level of the blood pressure as they carry blood being pushed from the heart under great force. To withstand this pressure, the wall of the arteries are thicker, more elastic, and more muscular than those of the other vessels. These vessels of the upper and lower limbs. But where they need more pressure, they are more thicker. The larger arteries of the body contains a high percentage of the elastic tissues that allow them to stretch and accommodate the pressure of the heart. The smaller arteries are more muscular in the structure of their walls. The smooth muscles of the arterial wall of these smaller arteries contract and expand to regulate the flow of the blood through their lumen. In this way, the body controls how much blood flow to the different part of the body under varying circumstances. The regulation of a blood flow also affects blood pressure, as smaller arteries give blood less area to flow and therefore increase the pressure of the blood on arterial wall. Arterioles are narrow arteries that branch off from ends of the arteries and carry blood to the capillary. They face much lower blood pressure than arteries due to their greater number, decreased blood volume, and distance from the direct pressure of the heart. The arterial walls are much thinner than those of the arteries. Arterioles, like arteries, are able to use smooth muscles to control their aperture and regulate blood flow and pressure. Capillaries, small vessels. Capillaries are the smallest and thinnest of the blood vessels in the body and also most common. Capillaries mostly are the single epithelial layer. They have got the single layer wall. They can be found running throughout almost every tissue of the body and bordered to an edge of the body avascular tissues. Capillaries connect to arterioles on one end and venules on the other end. Capillaries carry blood very close to the cell of the tissue of the body in order to exchange gases, nutrients, and waste. The wall of the capillaries consists of only a thin layer of the endothelium so that there is a minimum amount of the structure possible between the blood and the tissue. Means these capillaries are present in our tissue, in our tissues where there is an exchange of nutrients and carbon dioxide take place between the tissue. Waste and carbon dioxide entered into the venules, and capillaries, they deliver nutrients and gases, oxygen. So the endothelial acts as a filter to keep blood cells inside of the vessels while allowing liquid dissolved gases and other chemicals to diffuse along the concentration gradient into or out of tissues. Precapillary sphincters are band of small muscles found at the arterioles end of the capillaries. These sphincters means the valve which controls the regulation of the blood. The sphincters regulate blood flow into the capillaries. Since there is a limited supply of the blood and not all tissues have the same energy and oxygen requirement, the precapillary sphincters reduce blood flow to inactivate tissues and allow free flow into the active tissues. Veins and venules. Veins are the large return vessels of the body and act as the blood return counterpart of the arteries because the arterioles capillaries absorb most of the force of heart contraction. Veins and venules are subjected to very low blood pressure. This lack of pressure allows the wall of the vein to be much thinner, less elastic, and less muscular than the wall of the artery. Veins rely on the gravity, inertia, and force of the skeletal muscle contraction to help push blood back to the heart. To facilitate the movement of the blood, some veins contain many one-way valves that prevent blood from flowing away from the heart. As skeletal muscles in the body contract, they squeeze nearby veins and push blood through the valve closer to the heart. When the muscle relaxes, the valve traps the blood until another contraction pushes the blood closer to the heart. Venules are similar to arterioles and they are smaller vessels and that connect capillaries. But unlike arterioles, venules connect to the veins instead of arteries. Venules pick up blood from many capillaries and deposit it into the larger vein for transport back to heart. Then we have got a hepatic circulation, means circulation of the liver. The vein of the stomach and intestine perform a unique function. Instead of carrying blood directly to the heart, they carry blood to the liver through the hepatic portal vein. Blood leaving the digestive organ is rich in nutrients and other chemicals absorbed from the food. The liver removes toxins, stores sugars, and processes the product of the digestion before they reach the other body tissues. Blood from the liver then return to the heart through the inferior vena cava. This is a figure you can see and you can read it. Coronary circulation means circulation of heart. The heart has its own set of blood vessels that provide the myocardium, the muscles of the heart, with the oxygen and nutrients necessary to pump blood throughout the body. The left and right coronary arteries branches off from the aorta. These branches come from the aorta and lie down on, or located on the heart, and provide blood to the right and left side of the heart. The coronary sinuses is the vein on the posterior side of the heart. They return deoxygenated blood from the myocardium to the vena cava. Coronary circulation is the circulation of the blood in the blood vessels of the heart muscle myocardium. The vessels that deliver oxygen-rich blood to the myocardium are known as the coronary arteries. So what they we call it? Coronary arteries. Coronary arteries are those arteries which supply blood to the heart muscles, means myocardium. The vessels that remove the deoxygenated blood from the heart muscle are known as cardiac vein. The figure is there. You can go through this figure. The right aortic sinuses give rise to the right coronary artery, and left aortic sinuses give rise to the left coronary artery. So these coronary arteries come out from the sinuses. You have got these two main branches coming from the base of the aorta. The right and the left coronary artery, they have got various branches which I'm not going to talk about. Sulci. Also on the heart, you have got grooves. You have got grooves between the atrium and the ventricle, and you have got grooves between the ventricles itself. Between the atrium and the ventricle, you have got a groove called the coronary sulcus. In anatomy, referred to any groove, you will hear the word sulcus. And if there is a, what do you call it, not the sulcus, if it is lifting upward, that is known as gyrus. So in the brain, the grooves are called the sulcus plural or the sulci plural or the sulcus singular, and on the heart, same thing applies. You have got grooves which are called sulci. The coronary sulcus run between the atrium and the ventricle, and the coronary arteries run in this coronary sulcus. Between the ventricle, you have got an interventricular groove and interventricular sulcus. This groove separates right and left ventricle, and some major vessels bound this groove. Then we have got right coronary artery. The right coronary artery, if you go through right coronary artery, you will find that just following the right coronary artery around its course, it winds along the coronary sulcus to the back of the heart, and it gives off two main branches. You can see these branches on the right margin of the heart coming out of the right coronary artery. This is called the right marginal branch. That's the first branch. And as we follow the right coronary artery right to the back, you can see this groove running between the atrium and the ventricle, separating the atrium from the ventricle. It runs right around the heart, and then you can see this branch here. This is the posterior ventricular sulcus, that the one I showed you on the front in anterior ventricular sulcus. The artery that branches from the right coronary artery and runs down the posterior interventricular groove is the posterior interventricular artery, which is also known as the posterior descending artery. You have got two branches of the right coronary artery. You have got the right marginal artery, and you have got the posterior interventricular artery or the posterior descending artery. This is the right coronary artery you have seen here in the coronary sulcus. So I request you to go through this figure. It's a very good picture, and you will find pulmonary trunk is there, left main coronary artery is there, left atrium, circumflex artery, left ventricle, left anterior descending artery, posterior interventricular artery, then marginal artery, anastomosis function of vessel, right ventricle, right atrium, first coronary artery, and then superior vena cava and aorta. So this figure and the description, if you go through, you will understand. Then we have got the left coronary artery. The left coronary artery arises from the left aortic sinuses at the base of the aorta. Looking directly at the heart, you can actually see this branch. It's hidden underneath the pulmonary trunk. Again, this artery has a few branches. The first branch, which you can see running down anterior interventricular sulcus, is the anterior interventricular artery, otherwise known as the left anterior descending artery. That's the first branch of the coronary artery. This thing, there, here is the right atrial appendages. I'll just remove that so we can see a good look at the artery. This is the left coronary artery giving off the anterior interventricular artery in its first branch. And then it winds around all the way to the back, just like the right coronary artery. This branch which winds all the way around is known as the circumflex artery. This gives off a branch here. Like we have got this artery coming from the left coronary artery, lying on the right margin of the heart called the right marginal branch, or the artery. We have got the artery on the left margin. As the left marginal branch, this comes out circumflex artery. The circumflex artery winds all the way to the back to the base of the heart and extend down. You can see in this model, the circumflex artery extend very far down. This is anatomically variation between the people. Is very between the people. Some have got circumflex artery located in different uh, different area of the heart. Sometimes the posterior interventricular artery, which usually arises from the right coronary artery, it can arise at the circumflex artery of the left coronary artery. This is known as coronary dominance. Someone whose posterior interventricular artery arises from the circumflex artery, they will left dominant. And where if posterior interventricular artery arises from the right coronary artery, then they will call the right dominant. So some patients are the right dominant, some are the left dominant, means some coronary artery arises from the left side and some from the right. In the majority of the people, the posterior interventricular artery arises in the right side. But in some patients, the posterior interventricular artery arises from the circumflex artery, in which case they are left dominant. In the case of this model, you can see both arteries run in the equally length. This would be a case of the co-dominant. Means the both sides are equal, then they are the co-dominant. Means left and right both dominant. There is an equal supply from the left and right and left coronary arteries to the posterior surface of the heart. Then there is a venous drainage. Okay, so the venous drainage of the heart is by several cardiac veins which drain into the coronary sinuses, which lies on the posterior aspect of the heart on the inferior surface. You have got this coronary sinuses which lies between the left atrium and the left ventricle. It lies in the coronary sulcuses between the left atrium and the left ventricle. The coronary sinuses drain blood back to the right side of the heart, just like all the other deoxygenated blood. It returns blood to the right atrium. This is the coronary sinuses here. It receives 4 tributaries. You have got the greater cardiac vein, which runs the anterior ventricular sulcus in the vein and winds around to the joint of coronary sulcuses at the back. Then the great cardiac vein. It runs down the anterior interventricular surface, which around the vein into the coronary sinus. You have got this vein which runs down the posterior interventricular sulcuses, and this is called the middle cardiac vein. This joint into the coronary sinuses. So this one on the margin of the heart is the posterior cardiac vein. It meets the greater cardiac vein to join the coronary sinuses. We just rotate to other around. You can see it lies on the left margin of the heart and it drains into the coronary side. This is the posterior cardiac vein. And then on the right side of the heart, you have got this small cardiac vein. This thin little vein here running in the coronary sulcus is called the small cardiac vein. That's run between the right atrium and the right ventricle. And you have got this little branch which comes off the small cardiac vein. This is the right marginal vein. This drain into the small cardiac vein, which drain into the coronary sinuses, which drain blood into the right atrium. So at last, it will come to the right atrium, then to the right ventricle, then it will go to the lungs. You have got the coronary sinuses, which have 4 tributaries. You have got the greater cardiac vein running in the anterior interventricular surface. You have got the posterior cardiac vein, which runs on the left margin of the heart, which join the greater cardiac vein and join the coronary sinus. And then you have got the middle cardiac vein, which runs right down and middle of the back of the heart. The diaphragmatic surface of the heart is the posterior interventricular sulcus. And you have got the small cardiac vein which drain into the coronary side. Four trabures which drain the coronary sinuses. And then you have got these other two veins which need to know. The right marginal vein which drain into the small cardiac vein, and you have got these veins here with the which are anterior veins. Then these drain the anterior portion of the right ventricle so that the venous drainage of the heart. This is all about this lecture of the cardiovascular system, the heart, how it functions, and the structure of the heart and the arrangement of the blood and the hepatic circulation we have discussed. We have discussed about the pulmonary circulation. We have discussed about the systemic circulation. We have discussed about the structure of the heart. If you have any query, then you can ask so I can reply on these queries. Thank you very much.